Okay, everyone, I'm going to call this meeting of the Garfield County Precinct Caucuses to order at 1:08 p.m. We have live Spanish interpretation available. You should now hear from our interpreters for a few minutes in Spanish, telling our Spanish speakers how to access interpretation. Do we have our interpreters? Yes, go ahead. Thank you so much. I'm Eden Steele, and I am the secretary of the Garfield County Democrats, and I'm going to be your MC of sorts today. I'd like to start our meeting by thanking all who are here who are currently serving or who have served in government as our representatives. I know for sure we have Jean Alberico, our former county clerk and recorder, Roger Wilson, our former State House representative, and Elizabeth Velasco, our current State House representative. And we also want to thank all who have served in town council and school board positions. We greatly appreciate your service. Next, we're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance led by the Honorable Roger Wilson. Do we have Roger? Okay.
Sorry, I thought I was unmuted.
There you go.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Please follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of
America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Roger. We really appreciate it. Next, we have a special treat. Shad Marib, the chair of the the Colorado Democratic Party, is here and he wants to speak with us. Shad? There he is.
All right, can you hear me, Eden?
We can.
Well, thank you for that intro. It's very good to see you. I would never do as good a job as Debbie Prohl is doing for Garfield County. And so before I say anything, I'm the state party chair. My name is Shad Mira, but I just want to thank Debbie, Eden, the entire team for their incredibly hard work putting together this event. It is such a special opportunity for us to gather as Democrats and support our favorite candidates, our favorite policies. But one of the things that I've been thinking quite a bit about and why Caucus is so special, I think, is that every 2 years we're told that it's the most important election of our lives, right? And I don't know about all of you, but it kind of feels like this year it might actually be the most important election of our lives. And so what I'm hoping folks can take out of this incredible event and out of this opportunity to connect is a reminder that this is bigger than your favorite policy. It's bigger than your favorite candidate. And in fact, this participation that you're engaging here today is bigger than the Democratic Party. It's really about making sure that future generations have the opportunity to fight for progressive change and to live as great a life in this country as we've all been able to enjoy. We know that this is an imperfect place to live, and we're always striving to make it as good as possible. And so this November, the difference between Joe Biden and Donald Trump couldn't be clearer. The difference between our candidates for the Board of County Commissioners and their candidates and what we've had to deal with on this board could not be clearer. And I do think that Garfield County is the center of the political universe, at least to me, and making sure that we're expanding from this Boulder to Littleton Front Range focus to making sure our rural communities out west, down south, and out east have the attention they need to grow our party and to make sure everyone can benefit from this progressive change. So for every candidate, thank you for running. For every party leader and party officer, thank you for commanding this amazing process and putting it together. And to everyone who showed up, thank you for being a part of what I truly think is going to be the beginning of us being able to not only save our democracy nationwide, but also make sure that just right here where it counts, right here at home, I'm just next door to you in Eagle County, we have the type of candidates representing us in the way we deserve. And so I couldn't be more thrilled to welcome you all to Caucus. I hope you're all excited. As you can tell, I'm on the road. We're hitting a bunch of sites across the state, both virtually and in person today. So thank you very much. It is so meaningful that you're here, and can't wait to see the outcome of this incredible process. Thank you so much, and congratulations.
Thank you so much, Shad. We really appreciate you joining us. We know you have a hugely busy day. Next, I'd like to introduce Debbie Brule, who's the chair of the Garfield County Democrats. And as Chad said, she is one of the hardest working Democrats in Colorado and maybe even in the country. She is going to tell us how you can help us elect Democrats up and down the ballot. We would love to have you join our efforts.
Thank you, Eden. Okay, I'm gonna. Okay, much better. Thank you, Eden. Thank you, everyone, for being here. We have a lot to cover, so I will be brief. Wanted to make sure everybody knows that Garfield County has been turning more and more blue. In the 2022 election, for the first time ever that we know of, Garfield County voters cast more votes overall for Democrats than for Republicans. So we're very excited about that, and we are working hard to build on that momentum. We have lots of projects going on all the time, thanks to the many fantastic volunteers that we have working with us. So thank you to all of you who volunteer with us. Of course, we could always use more help. The more volunteers we have, the more we can get done. So there's lots of different ways to get involved. Feel free to reach out to us and we can chat about how you might want to join our volunteer team. Whatever interests, skills, talents you have, we can put them to work. We are completely donor funded, so thank you to all of you who support us. We rely on your support so that we can support our candidates. I hope all of you here today will consider becoming a monthly donor. It's those monthly donations of every size that really help us plan ahead and use our dollars as strategically as possible. We have lots of events and activities coming up this spring and summer. We really value getting people together, communicating with each other, sharing ideas, connecting people together, and building the community of left-leaning voters across Garfield County. We also believe in making our political work as enjoyable and inspiring as we can. Having said that, today's meeting, we have a lot of procedures we need to complete and rules that we need to follow. So if this is, so it may not be quite as fun as some of our other activities that we organize. If this is your first time connecting with us, we hope you will also join us for some of our other upcoming events. We are doing monthly happy hours in different towns across the county. We've been organizing candidate forums. We'll be marching in parades. We have 2 big events coming up, our spring fundraiser in Carbondale in May, and our annual picnic in Silt in August. You can learn more about all those things on in our email newsletters and on our website, garcodems.org. Last thing I want to do is to thank Garco Dems Executive Committee member Eden Steele for taking on this major project of running our caucus and assembly. I'll hand it back to you, Eden.
Thank you so much, Debbie. I'm going to cover some housekeeping matters for our meeting today. Our caucus is virtual because we wanted it to make it easy for people to participate. And we have at least 200 people. So that's a really amazing turnout. I know a lot of you have done virtual meetings lately, and so you know that hiccups are kind of a part of the process. So we probably will have a few of those today, and we appreciate it if you could be patient with us as we try to work through those. We know that many of you are here to support a particular candidate, and we think that is awesome. But there are things that we have to do under Colorado law and the Colorado Democratic Party rules before we get to voting. During our caucus, we must elect precinct organizers, excuse me. We must recruit election judges, and then we elect county assembly delegates. The most important thing for you to know is that if you want to vote for a candidate, you need to be elected as a delegate to our county assembly. All that means is that at the end of the meeting, we're going to ask for all interested caucus goers who want to be a delegate to county assembly to fill out a little poll, and then you will be a delegate. You'll then stay on the call as we transition from caucus to assembly. We sent out our caucus rules to everyone who pre-registered for caucus. Those are the rules that govern our caucus meeting here today. However, there's a link in the chat if you would like to review those. Now I'm going to tell you about some voting logistics. Your microphone is on mute. If you have a question, please direct it to the chat. Here's a slide showing you generally how to find the chat function. Most menu bars are down at the bottom of your screen. You'll click on that chat icon there, and a chat screen should pop up for you. Please note that if you have questions and you send them to the chat, they're only going to come to us. They're not going to go to the whole group. We also have tech support in Spanish. If you're having difficulties that can't be resolved in the chat, we're going to put you in a breakout room with a live person who can help you. You will just need to follow the prompts on your screen to enter the breakout room. We're going to be taking several votes today. Our contested election votes, where we have 2 candidates, will be done by a poll using Google Forms. For those, we'll put a link to the poll in the chat. You'll go to the chat, click on the link, fill out the poll, and click submit. If you have questions during a vote or you're having trouble voting, please direct your questions again to the chat. We'll have other votes that'll be taken by acclamation, such as approving reports and delegate lists. We'll need a motion to approve those. When we ask for a motion, if you want to make that motion, you'll use the raise hand function. You can see on your screen, the raise hand is in your reactions menu. So you'll open your reactions, click on your reactions button, click on the raise hand button, and your hand will go up on your screen. We'll record the first person we see to have made a motion, and then we'll do the same thing for a second. Please remember to use the reactions menu to put your hand down afterwards. Once we have a motion on the floor, we will allow time for discussion. If you have a point you'd like to make for discussion, you're going to use that raise hand function again. When we see that your hand is raised, we will unmute you to make your point for discussion. And then we'll ask you to put your hand down again. After discussion is finished, we will vote. It takes a simple majority to pass a motion by acclamation, so we'll just be asking for objections. If you object to the matter being voted on, you're going to use the red X. This was a little more tricky, so what you're going to do there is you're going to go to the reactions menu. You're going to click on the 3 dots. You'll see the arrow on your screen pointing to that. And in the search results, you type X and up will pop that red X. And that's what you're going to do if you object to a vote. If you don't object, you don't have to do anything. Somebody raised their hand. We have a hand up. If you could direct your question to the chat, we would appreciate that so we can keep moving. Okay, just a quick reminder, we're conducting 2 different meetings today. First is a meeting of our precinct caucuses, which should take about a half hour. After we're finished with the caucus business, including electing our delegates to county assembly, we're going to adjourn the caucus and immediately gavel in for our assembly. At the assembly, our elected delegates will vote on our candidates for county commissioner to appear on the primary ballot. and they will elect delegates to our higher assemblies, our state house and state senate assemblies, and state and congressional assemblies and conventions. All of these higher assemblies are virtual. Now, before we dive into our business, we have a quick message from our Secretary of State, Jenna Griswold.
Hello, Colorado Democrats. I'm Jenna Griswold, Colorado Secretary of State. Thank you to every single one of you for participating in the democratic process and for all of your support. Now, 7 years ago, when I ran for office, it seemed like an impossible task. At the age of 32, I was running for a seat a Democrat hadn't won in 60 years, never having ran for office before. And honestly, folks like me don't tend to run and they don't tend to win statewide office. Growing up in rural Colorado, there were times that were tough for my family. We were on and off food stamps, in and out of food banks. I started working the summer after the 7th grade to help, and was the first person in my family to attend a 4-year college and then law school. Despite some long odds, I became Colorado's first elected Democratic Secretary of State since Eisenhower was president, one of the few women ever elected to statewide office, and the youngest Secretary of State in the country. I could not have done it without many of you here today. Colorado's elections are the nation's gold standard, and I've led efforts to increase our security and access by increasing drop boxes by over 65%, guaranteeing access on every public university and on tribal lands, by leading parolee reenfranchisement and automatic voter registration. We are now, however, in an unprecedented moment in our nation's history. Trump incited the insurrection and attacked the very foundations of our nation. He attempted to overturn the results of a free and fair election and is one of the biggest threats to our nation today. I will always stand up to Donald Trump's attacks on our democracy. In this country right now, women are being made into second-class citizens. We have a gun violence epidemic, a climate crisis, and record levels of inequality. Until we can clearly say abortion care is health care, until we have an assault weapons ban right here in Colorado, until we tackle the climate crisis and safeguard our democracy, our work is not over. Just like we defeated extremism in 2018, 2020, and 2022, we must do it again this year. We must work hard this year, make our voices heard, and safeguard our country and fundamental freedoms in November. With your help, I know we're going to succeed. So thank you again, Colorado Democrats. Thank you for everything that you do. And I'm looking forward to a wonderful 2024 and a bright future with all of you.
Thank you to the amazing
Hello,
Gracias.
Colorado.
Griswold for
sorprendente, Jenna.
reminding us how important it is to
Lo
vote and
importante que es
participate this year.
votar y participar.
I think Scott saw it. Okay, we're going to move on.
Muy bien, entonces vamos a continuar.
We have a little glitch here, Scott.
Tenemos a Glitcher Scott.
Okay, I think we're good to go again.
Sí, ok, podemos continuar.
Nope. Okay, I hope we're good now, so we can continue. Prior to today's meeting, we asked in
Okay.
our pre-caucus poll.
Lo que vamos a hacer es un sondeo libre
Oh,
en
dear.
el caucus.
One of these hiccups that I mentioned. Scott's talking. I don't know who he's talking to. Scott, let me know when we're ready to start again.
Are we having issues with interpretation? This is Antonio.
We are, Antonio. We can hear you.
Yeah, I'm trying to access the interpretation so I can only remain on the Spanish channel, but for a reason that I don't know, it doesn't let me do it. Let me ask my partner to go back and keep on doing the interpretation while we fix this.
Okay, sounds
Thank
good.
you. Sorry about that.
Okay, so prior to today's meeting, we asked in our pre-caucus poll about your interest in being a precinct organizer for the March 2024 to 2026 election cycle. We want to thank everyone who has served in this important position for the last 2 election cycles, and we want to thank everyone else who's considering stepping up. As a precinct organizer, you connect with left-leaning voters in your precinct. It can be through door knocking, phone calls, emails, house gatherings, postcards, whatever works best for you. We support precinct organizers by providing lists of names and contact information for the voters in your precinct, and also structures to help you connect with these voters. Our precinct organizers also play an important role by being members of our vacancy and office committee. And this means that if someone at the county level in a county office who's a Democrat can't serve out their term for any reason, then our precinct organizers are on the committee who help find a replacement to serve out the remainder of the term. They're also members of our County Central Committee, which means they vote on important county party decisions like electing a new slate of officers. Please note that we do expect precinct organizers to do at least some outreach if they want to stay on as members of the vacancy committee and the central committee. On your screen here in a second, you should see a list of the people who volunteered to serve as precinct organizers. We have 27 precincts in Garfield County, and 2 precinct organizers per precinct are allowed. We're going to get that list up for you here in a second. Sorry. No, I need to be included. If there's anyone who wants to be a precinct organizer but didn't sign up in our pre-caucus poll, please raise your hand now using the hand raise function. We'd love to have more people take on this important position. We've got Donna Yost. What precinct? What precinct is Donna Yost again? We've got Sarah Hayes, Renee McCullough, Will Hodges, Ted Zislis. If I've called your name, go ahead and put your hand down so I can see who else has theirs up. We've got Paula Stepp, Heather Dickinson Exby, looks like we have Nicole Romanoff. We have Jackie Rummel.
Are you guys looking at these people's precinct numbers? If you, I don't know. You should.
Also, if you signed up as a maybe, when you filled out the pre-caucus poll and you're ready to commit to yes, could you also raise your hand? We have some maybes on our list.
Is the chat going? Okay.
And we now have Roger Wilson has raised his hand. For everyone who's just signed up, can you please put your name and your precinct number in the chat? We need to kind of quickly round up the precinct numbers for you guys so that when we vote, we know exactly who we're voting on. Anita Sherman has raised her hand. If you could, Anita, if you could put a message in the chat with your precinct number, we'd appreciate it. We're going to take a couple minutes to get that information all compiled, and then we're going to vote on approving our precinct organizers. Okay, here's our updated list of precinct organizers. There's still some maybes on there. If you see yourself on there and you're a maybe, please let us know if you'd like to be a yes. We're only going to be voting on the yeses.
Oh, and there's 3 for 9. Precinct 9. Does anyone not one?
Okay, I think we're ready to go ahead and vote. We're only going to be voting on the yeses on your screen. So I will now accept a motion to approve the list of precinct organizers. If you'd like to make that motion, please use the hand raise function. Okay, Sydney Chalet has made the motion and Roger Wilson has seconded the motion. I'll now open the floor to discussion. If you have a point for discussion, please use the hand raise function and we will unmute you. Is there any discussion on approving the list of precinct organizers? Excellent. We're now going to vote. In order to vote, we're just going to ask if anyone is opposed to approving the list of precinct organizers, please register your objection with a red X. If you're in favor, you don't need to do anything. I don't see any red X's. It's like the motion passes and we have approved our precinct organizers. Thank you so much to the folks who stepped up for this important position. We really, really appreciate it. And we will be in touch with getting you started. We want to mention another option for volunteering, and that's our block captain program. Our block captains are responsible for contacting a smaller group of voters, 25 to 50 left-leaning voters in their own neighborhood. And they hand out a flyer 3 times a year. We provide the flyer. We want to thank all our block captains we currently have about 40 active block captains, and we want to thank all of them who are on this call today. You're such an important part of our outreach efforts. If anybody else is interested, please email us at info@garcodems.org and we will talk to you more about it. The next thing we need to do is recruit election judges for our 2024 and 2025 election. Here's a slide with the dates of the elections for 2024. So please don't sign up if you're not available during those times. We have Pat Tomasco with us, who's been an election judge for over 35 years, and she is going to say a few words about being an election judge. Thank you, Pat.
Hello, everybody. Boy, this is really, really weird. Okay. Yes, I've been an election judge for, no, stop. Okay, now, am I muted? No. Okay. Hi, I'm Pat Tomasco, and as Eden had said, I've been an election judge for many years. I just wanted to let you know that, first of all, if you are already an election judge, and some of you out there are, you do need to reapply. So please go ahead when the poll comes up to go ahead and reapply to be an election judge. It's an exciting thing to do. All the people that I work with, even though we have very differing opinions, we all get along very, very well. And everything works so smoothly in Garfield County. It has been for all these years. And I think it will continue to do so. It's a very rewarding thing to be an election judge. So please sign up if you're available. And remember, there are very specific times and there are lots of different duties. It runs from picking up ballots from different drop boxes all the way through processing and pulling the ballots out of the envelopes, getting them ready to be counted. And then there are adjudication judges who look at if somebody marked a ballot twice in two different places for the same position. We have people who look at that and say, what did that voter want? So it runs the gamut of different things to do. Please sign up. It's fun.
All right, thank you so much, Pat. We're now going to have you fill out a poll to let us know whether or not you're interested in being an election judge. The poll is going to be in the chat, and you're going to go to the chat, click on the poll, and answer yes or no, and click submit. We'd like everybody to go ahead and do this poll because it's going to be good practice for some of our voting polls coming up a little later. We'll take about 3 minutes for everyone to fill out the poll. If you're having trouble accessing the poll, please send a message to the chat. Please note that not everyone who signs up to be an election judge is going to be able to do so. There's often more people who want to be an election judge than we have spaces available. But we always need people to be election judges in the western part of our county. So please take a moment to fill out our election judge poll in the chat. While you're doing that, I want to just say that another way to participate in the election process is to be a poll watcher. And you won't be signing up for that today, but as we get closer to the election, we'll have more information about that on our website. Is everybody seeing it in the chat? Does anybody need more time to fill out the election judge poll? Please raise your hand if you do. Okay, it seems like everyone's got it. Thank you so much. If you answered yes, you'll be added to the list of approved election judges sent to the county clerk and recorder, and they will be in touch with you about the position. All right, we're getting close to the end of caucus, when we will gavel out of that and back into our county assembly. But before we do that, we need to formally elect all caucus participants who are interested in being delegates to our county assembly. Looks like Robert Shively has a raised hand. He may be having problems with the election judge poll. Robert, if you could contact the chat, they can help you out with that. And I'm going to continue. Okay, so we're going to elect our delegates to county assembly, where you will vote for our county commissioner candidates to get on the primary ballot and elect delegates to our higher assemblies for CU region at large, Congressional District 3, Senate District 5, and State House District 57. If you want to be a delegate to county assembly, we're placing a link to a poll in the chat right now, where you can confirm your intent to be a delegate by selecting yes. We know that some of you may have indicated in our pre-caucus poll that you wanted to be a delegate, and we appreciate you doing that so that we could gauge interest, but you will need to do so again by accessing the poll in the chat. We're going to take about 3 minutes to allow everyone to access the poll and respond. If you're having trouble with the poll, please ask for some help in the chat. The poll isn't here yet. Scott, do you have the poll in the chat?
1 second. I am just answering the questions in the chat. Just a reminder to everyone, you are not voting in the chat. Please do not type your vote into the chat on any of the polls. Fill out the Google form. One second.
All right, folks. The link to the poll is now in the chat. We'll take about 3 minutes for everyone to fill that out. Remember, if you want to vote at County Assembly, you need to fill the poll out and answer yes, that you want to be a delegate to County Assembly. I'll be getting.
Just a quick housekeeping reminder for everyone. If you're filling out the poll and it asks for your email address, it's your email address, not your physical home address or mailing address. It's your email address.
Hey guys, we're going to take about 1 more minute. If you're having any kind of problems, please let the chat know. Also, someone responded to the poll by putting yes instead of their name. If you remember that you did that, please go back into the poll and do it again and put your name in.
Just a friendly reminder, when voting, go slowly. if you're not understanding the poll, make sure you read everything on there. So it's asking basically 3 questions: your name, your email address, and your choice of would you like to become a county assembly delegate. There'll be more polls like this throughout the day, so please keep reading, because some of the responses we're getting back are not really following those questions.
Okay, we're just going to take another minute to get the final number of delegates. Just remember that if you want to vote at county assembly, you do need to register yourself as a delegate in the poll, and then we're going to vote to approve all these people. I do see a raised hand. Carol, if you could direct your question to the chat, we would appreciate it. All right, folks, sorry for that delay. We had to confirm we didn't have duplicates and whatnot. But we now have a list of 118 people who wish to be delegates to our county assembly. So I will now accept a motion to approve those people to move on to county assembly. Do we have such a motion? Yasmin Ramirez has made a motion, and we need a second. Dana Wood has seconded the motion. I'll now open the floor for discussion. If you have a point for discussion, please raise your hand and we will unmute you. I don't know if Yasmin has a point for discussion or if she's still up from it. Okay, no. Is there any discussion before we approve the list of county assembly delegates? Okay, seeing no discussion, we're now going to vote. If you are opposed to approving the list of county delegates, please register your opposition using the red X. If you're in favor, you don't need to do anything. Scott, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't see any red X's.
Correct.
Okay, the motion has passed. We have 118 delegates to county assembly. This concludes the business of our caucus. Yay. As a reminder, we're going to adjourn and then immediately gavel into county assembly where we get to vote. If you were elected as a delegate for county assembly, please remain on the Zoom call when we announce that caucus is adjourned so that you can be present at the assembly and vote. If you're not going to be a delegate to county assembly after we adjourn, please drop off the call. Only delegates can remain on the call. All others can observe the proceedings via YouTube. Please see the chat for the YouTube link. At this time, well, actually, before I take a motion to adjourn, I want to let you know we're going to take a 5-minute recess between our caucus and assembly so that we can get our spreadsheets in order. If you are a delegate, a reminder, you need to stay on the call. Just take 5 minutes, go to the bathroom, get something to eat. At this time, I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn our Garfield County Precinct caucuses. Please, we have a motion by Don Dexter and a second by Roger Wilson. A vote is not required. The meeting of the Garfield County Precinct caucuses is adjourned at 2:01. We will be back in about 5 minutes. Thank you so much, everyone, for participating so far.
Hey, Debbie, this is Elliot Hood. Am I going to get a chance to chat?
Elliot, I can answer for them. That's happening at the assembly. There's a specific section to see region candidates.
Okay, thanks. Just wanted to make sure I didn't see the full agenda.
Yeah, that comes up in the assembly agenda.
Cool. Thanks so much.
Okay, I'm going to call our county assembly meeting to order at 2:11 p.m. We're just running a little bit behind. Before we get to the voting, we have some procedural tasks we need to accomplish. We need to elect temporary officers to run our meeting until we approve our permanent organization report. I have volunteered to serve as our temporary chair, and Debbie Brule has volunteered to serve as our temporary secretary. I'd like to get a motion to approve us as temporary officers until we approve our permanent organization report. We have a motion from Stephen Arousa. We have a second. Looks like a second from Nicole Christensen. We will now open the floor to discussion. If you have a point for discussion, please use the hand raise function. Last chance for discussion. Seeing no discussion, we will now vote. If you are opposed to appointing me as temporary chair and Debbie Brule as temporary secretary, please note your objection with the red X. If you're in favor, you don't need to do anything. I'm not seeing any red X's, so the motion passes. Thanks, everyone. We now have Pat Tomasco, who's going to give our credentials committee report.
Hello again. We have 114 registered delegates to the Garfield County Assembly. And we have quorum.
Thank you, Credentials Committee. We can go on with our business. Before we get to vote, we have to approve our permanent organization report. This report was sent to everyone who pre-registered for our caucus and assembly. And this report sets out the rules for conducting our assembly today. It names the perm org officers and the permanent chair, myself, and the permanent secretary, Debbie Brule. Most of the rules in the perm org report are set by Colorado law or the Colorado Democratic Party. However, there are a few specifics in there that pertain to our meeting. Submission of the perm org report to this group is considered a motion to adopt, and no second is required. We're going to vote on the perm org report by acclamation. First, we'll open the floor to discussion. If you have any discussion you'd like to make, please raise your hand using the hand raise function. Any discussion on the perm org report? Okay, seeing no discussion, we're going to vote. If you are opposed to approving the perm org report, please note your objection using the red X. If you're in favor, you don't have to do anything. Seeing no red X's, our perm org report has been adopted. All right, we get to move on to the voting, everybody. First up is our county commissioner candidates, District 2. Just for an introduction, each county commissioner candidate must receive 30%, a minimum of 30% of the delegate vote to make it on to the primary ballot via assembly. If they receive 10% of the vote, they can still try to get on via the petition method. If they receive less than 10%, their candidacy is concluded. All candidates will be provided 1 minute for someone to nominate them, 30 seconds for someone to second the nomination, and then the candidate will have up to 3 minutes to address the delegation. We will be keeping time and we will cut you off if necessary. I really don't want to do that, so please be mindful of the time. We're going to start with District 2, where we have received a letter of intent from Caitlin Carey to use the assembly process to get on to the primary ballot. Dr. Heather Exby is going to nominate Caitlin Carey. Do we have Dr. Exby? You have the floor for 1 minute.
Hi, thank you. Like many of us, Caitlin Carey moved here from somewhere else, in Caitlin's case, Alabama. And like all of us here today, she fell in love with these valleys and made a commitment to involve herself in her new home, not just to enjoy the riches of life here, but work on its behalf to roll up her sleeves and get into the messy work of decision-making and community service and local government, the backbone of our beloved and precious democracy. She has political experience serving as a town councilor for Newcastle since 2022, and she sees the criticality of working together across municipal and cultural boundaries to address complex issues that can only be solved through creative collaboration, mutual respect, and genuine diplomacy. Caitlin is
10
vivacious
seconds.
and courageous, determined and creative, collaborative and sensible, young and energetic. President John F. Kennedy spoke.
Thank you, Dr. XB. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
your
Okay.
nomination. Thank you so much. Jamin Hetty Smith is going to second that nomination. Do we have Jamin?
Yes.
Okay, great. Jamin, you have the floor for 30 seconds.
So I wanted to share a personal story. I have the privilege of being married to an ambitious redhead from the Deep South who happened to fall in love with Garfield County, and that is Caitlin Carey. She came home from one of her first town council meetings, and she said, "I love this. This is what I want to do." She looked at me and said, "Am I crazy?" And I said, "Yes." And I was telling this to a
5
friend
seconds.
recently. My friend said, "This is the type of person we need to have." We're in as a family, and I second the nomination for her.
Thank you so much, Jamin. We really appreciate it. Okay, Caitlin Carey, the floor is yours for 3 minutes. Let's, there we go.
Okay. Are you ready for me?
We are ready.
Okay. We are here today because of you. I am here because of you. I am here because I fell in love with this area in 2002 when I first moved to the Garfield County. I am here because through my service on town council in Newcastle, I began to see things in Garfield County that weren't being addressed. I am here because the old way of doing things is missing our housing crisis, our transportation needs, our Latino and senior communities, our economic diversification, the care of our wilderness, our wildlife, our environment, and our water. I am here because I want to be the person to bring Garfield County to the table, to do the hard work and do it collaboratively with our neighboring counties and municipalities so that we address the things that are being missed. Years ago, when I was going through a time of particular growth in my life, I was searching for the underlying why, my purpose. And it came to me that I should be a unifier of people. I had known for many years that my career path was rooted in both the law and people. It was clear to me in law school and the things that energized me and the things that inspired me to go deeper and further is where the law and people touched. That intersection became even clearer when I began serving on town council and on the Rifle Community Foundation Board. Our current commissioners have siloed Garfield County. They have failed to work with Eagle and Pitkin counties. They have shifted the burden of housing to our municipalities. They have even gone so far as to issue yet another complaint resolution, putting up a virtual wall around Garfield County and the rest of the world because turning a blind eye to an issue of humanity is easier than addressing things head on. Working with our communities within Garfield County, as well as our neighboring counties and municipalities is imperative if we want to address those issues that have largely been ignored. This will allow us to creatively address our housing and transportation needs. Together, we can work to create a government access program that addresses language access and systems and community education. We will work with our state and local government to address our issues here on the local level, because after all, county governments were created to bring government services to local residents. And I plan on starting now with listening sessions in our communities so that I can better know those I serve. This work will be hard. The conversations will be tense and the emotionality will run high. But Garfield County is worth it. You are worth it because it should have always been a we. And with me, it always will be.
15 seconds. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Caitlin.
I beat the time.
We like that. Caitlin Carey has now been properly nominated. We now must open the floor to nominations from the floor. Are there any nominations from the floor for County Commissioner, District 2? I have to ask this 3 times. Are there any nominations from the floor for County Commissioner, District 2? Please raise your hand. One last time, any nominations from the floor for County Commissioner, District 2? Okay, seeing no further nominations, I will now accept a motion to designate Caitlin Carey to the primary ballot. Please use the hand raise function. Dave Rummel has made a motion to designate Caitlin Carey. We have a second from Nicole Christensen. Is there any discussion? If you have a point for discussion, please raise your hand using the hand raise function. Last chance for discussion. I don't see it. Okay, we're ready to vote. We're going to vote by acclamation. If you object to designating Caitlin Carey to the primary ballot for County Commissioner District 2, please use the red X to note your objection. If you're in favor, you don't need to do anything. I see no red X's, so we have nominated Caitlin Carey, County Commissioner candidate, District 2. Congratulations, Caitlin.
Thank you so very much.
All right, next up is District 3. We've received letters of intent from Stephen Arauza and Sean Strode to use the assembly process to get on the primary ballot. Again, each candidate will have 1 minute to be nominated, 30 seconds for a second, and then the candidate will have up to 3 minutes to address the delegation. We flipped a coin to determine who would be first, and Stephen Arauza is going to go first. Representative Elizabeth Velasco is going to nominate Mr. Arauza. Do we have Representative Velasco?
Hi, yes, I'm here.
All right, you have 1 minute.
Thank you so much, everyone. I'm very excited. I'm proud to have endorsed Stephen Arauza as the candidate for District 3. I really believe in Stephen's leadership and vision. A vision and a future where our kids have access to clean air and clean water, where we have access to dignified housing, where we also are able to continue to thrive, where our economy is diversified and where our small businesses continue to thrive. So please join me in supporting Stephen Arauza for County Commissioner for District 3.
Thank you so much, Representative Velasco. Michael Hessig will second the nomination. Do we have Michael?
Yes.
All right, you have 30 seconds.
Thank you. As I've gotten to know Stephen, I have found him to be smart, thoughtful, and articulate. He's a man with a compelling personal history, his training as a scientist, and his work in the oil and gas fields represents a unique perspective that I think has long been lacking in Garfield County, and I'm pleased to second his nomination.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hessig. You were right on 30 seconds. Mr. Arauza, the floor is now yours for up to 3 minutes.
Hi, everyone. Thank you all for participating in the Caucus and Assembly. My name is Stephen Arauza, and I want to be your Garfield County Commissioner for District 3. I'm a working parent, a scientist, and a career public servant with over a decade of experience in regulating the oil and gas industry. I'm running to bring the perspective and lived experience of workers, working families, and the Latino community to the Board of County Commissioners, because I believe that Garfield County is best served when our representation is reflective of our whole community. This week, we've seen the Board of County Commissioners unanimously pass a resolution that contained racist tropes and an open appeal to our Sheriff's Department to cooperate with ICE. This courtship of ICE places our entire Latino community at risk and encourages racial profiling by law enforcement. yet opposition to the county's resolution from other local decision makers has been tepid or non-existent. Perhaps this is seen as the cost of continuing to do business with the Board of County Commissioners, but this silence speaks volumes to the Latino community and other marginalized communities in our county. I'm running to bring authentic Latino representation to the Board of County Commissioners, and I urge you all to pay attention to this canary in the coal mine. What you have today is an opportunity to show the Latino community that you see our struggles and will not choose to look the other way for the sake of political convenience. We have got to rebuild trust in the Latino community and give people a reason to be excited to vote blue in November. We also need to put our strongest candidate forward to challenge incumbents who are unapologetically in the pocket of the oil and gas industry. I'm the best person to rise to this occasion. I've dedicated my entire career to monitoring and cleaning impacts from oil and gas industries on behalf of the public. Outside of my work, I'm committed to elevating community voices in government decisions that impact our environment. I'm the only candidate in this race with independent experience working in the oil field and directly advocating for community voices in that space. Working people need to be seen by our party, and our experiences need to be represented at the table. Today, you can nominate a candidate directly from the workforce to do exactly that. Once again, I stand alone in this race as a proven labor champion with experience working with state legislators and even the governor's office on behalf of working people across the state. Our current commissioners avoid collaboration, but I have existing relationships to bring statewide advances into our county and our county values to our partners at the state level. It is imperative that we prioritize the needs of our residents and bring good jobs back into the county to build more resilient communities for all. As your commissioner, I will collaborate across levels of government to improve access to healthcare, childcare, and affordable housing while promoting programs that offer people a pathway to homeownership and financial security. I will also work to diversify both our energy portfolio and our economy by advancing renewable energy projects that can be met with our existing workforce. I am running to be the commissioner you can count on to prioritize decisions that positively impact our quality of life and to rebuild the trust of our marginalized communities. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Arauza. Next up is candidate Sean Strode. Wait 1 second. Christina Manis will nominate Mr. Strode. Ms. Manis, are you there?
I am.
Okay, you have the floor for 1 minute.
Okay. Hello, I would like to nominate Sean Strode for County Commissioner District 3. My name is Christina Manis, and I'm a resident and former vice president of the Garfield RE2 School Board. In the last 2 years that I served our community in this capacity, it became clear to me the value and necessity of having local democratic leadership with experience in governance and skill and commitment to civil discourse. With Sean's experience in local government, both as a Rifle City Council member and mayor, his deep ties and service to our community and track record of respectful collegiality, I believe that Sean can be a strong and viable candidate for our County Commissioner District 3. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Manis. The seconder will be Karen Roberts. Karen, are you here?
I am.
Okay, great. You have the floor for 30 seconds.
Hi, my name is Karen Roberts, and I'm honored to second the motion to nominate Sean Strode for Garfield County Commissioner District 3. I have worked and known Sean for almost 10 years. Please join me in voting for a dedicated, intelligent, compassionate person who will lead Garfield County in a positive direction and who I know can beat Mike Sampson in November. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Roberts. Mr. Strode, the floor is yours for 3 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Sean Strode, and I'm here to represent Democrats in ripping the seat away from Mike Sampson. I'm an educator, an outdoor enthusiast, a jazz guitarist, and a public servant. I work for Colorado Mountain College, and my wife, Angela, and I have 2 children. In 2017, I was voted to Rifle City Council, and I'm currently the mayor. Here are my priorities. We need to cut oil and gas lobbying and financially prioritize our public services. Leading a municipality, I have experience balancing a $50 million budget. We need a regional housing initiative, and I have years of experience supporting affordable housing. There needs to be a county-funded Hispanic advisory board to get real solutions in our communities. Our county should focus on renewable energy, and I'm a board member for Garfield Clean Energy. And our community must create term limits for elected officials because no one should serve for 28 years. But there are a few things that I won't do. I won't let oil and gas dictate our future. I won't create policies that exclude people from our communities. And I won't let entities like our library district be stripped of their constitutional First Amendment rights. We as Democrats can take this seat. We just can't do it alone. Currently, Garfield County has only 22% Democrat, but 51% unaffiliated. And did you know all 10 elected officials in Garfield County are Republicans? For 6 years, I've worked with the commissioners. It's been dishonest, deceptive, and disrespectful at times. My experience on city council has proven that I can make positive change while working with people who have opposing political viewpoints. I joined this race later than other candidates, but that was intentional. Voted as mayor 3 months ago, it was important to solidify in history that Democrats are changing this political landscape. And a historically Republican city, our largest municipality, has a Democrat mayor. Those are the kinds of historical changes I want to make with you. For the first time in decades, we have 2 Democratic candidates for District 3, and I think that's amazing. The message is loud and clear. Change is coming. Let's show a united front by presenting both Stephen and I on the primary ballot. With 2 strong candidates talking loudly about the real issues, the Democratic Party will have a strong presence. As you vote today, I consider my experience in all of the different areas of government and my proven ability to lead. Because when the Democrats force Mike Sampson off of his seat, that's when the real challenge begins. Thank you very much for your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Strode. We now have properly nominated Sean Strode and Stephen Arauza. But next, we need to see if there are any nominations from the floor for County Commissioner District 3. 2 more times. Are there any nominations from the floor for County Commissioner District 3? Last time, any nominations from the floor for County Commissioner District 3? All right, hearing no further nominations, we will now take a vote to designate which candidates will appear on the primary ballot. We'll be putting a link to the poll in the chat. Please click on the link, vote for one candidate, and click submit. If you're having problems voting, please send a message to the chat. We're going to take about 4 minutes to make sure everyone has a chance to vote.
Yeah, I'm here now.
We've got about a minute left. If you're having trouble voting, please let the chat know. Okay, I think everyone has voted and balloting is going to close. We're going to take a few minutes to tabulate the votes. Scott, if you can let me know when the votes are ready. And Credentials Committee, if you can let me know that you have received all the votes and that only delegates have voted and only voted one time. Hey, thanks for your patience, everybody. We had a couple people vote who weren't delegates, but now we're going to be showing on your screen the unofficial results.
No, we're not ready.
We're not quite ready, sorry. Scott, is our chart ready?
Yes.
Okay. We're going to put the results on the screen. Okay, so we have Stephen Arauza met the 30% threshold with 71% of the vote. Sean Strode was just shy of it with 28.9% of the vote. Mr. Strode can still use the petition process to get on the ballot for the primary election. We appreciate both of the candidates. Thank you so much. And now we are going to move on to our state delegate race. This is the CU region at large race. This is a statewide race. In a few minutes, we're going to conduct a preference poll to determine which candidates get delegates to the state assembly. But first, I'd like to introduce the two candidates running for this important position, Elliott Hood and Charles Johnson. Now, earlier we had Elliott Hood on the call with us. I want to see if he's still here. We flipped a coin and he's going to go first. There he is. Great. Yep. Thank you so much. All right. You bet. The floor is yours for 3 minutes.
And how much time do I have?
You have 3 minutes.
Okay, great. So thank you so much. It's great to be here with Garfield Dems. My name is Elliott Hood, and I'm a candidate for the University of Colorado's Board of Regents, which is the governing board of our state's largest higher ed institution, third largest employer in the state. I'm a very proud CU grad. I'm a former public school teacher. In fact, I'm in a classroom right now, which is where I feel most at home. And I'm an education attorney that represents public school districts across this beautiful state. Districts on the Western Slope, Eastern Plains, and the metro area. As a lawyer, I've stood up for anti-racism and gender inclusion policies. I've stood up for kids with disabilities. And I've also stood up for masking and quarantining and other public health protocols during the pandemic that kept our kids and our staff safe. It's too bad that a lawyer had to be engaged to do stuff like that, but I was honored to stand up and do those things. When I'm elected to the CU Board of Regents, my big priorities are going to be, number one, we've got to make CU more affordable. Number two, we've got to push the university to be more sustainable and become carbon neutral. And then three, we've got to ban concealed carry and get guns out of our classrooms where they do not belong. I'm thrilled to have the support of elected Democrats across the state, including every single elected Democrat in the legislature from the Western Slope of Colorado, including your own Elizabeth Velasco. I am so thrilled to have the support of so many Democrats across the state, not just them, but also the incumbent region at large, the chair of the Board of Regents, Callie Renison, and others. And I would be honored to have your support here today as well. So this is top of the ticket this year, folks, which means that there's no other statewide race besides president and CU regent, which means that this November, you're going to get to vote for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, number one, and Elliott Hood, number two, on your ballot. And it's been great to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hood. We appreciate you being here with us in person. I hope everybody was able to hear that. Next up is Charles Johnson. He could not be with us, but he has sent a video for you guys to listen to. Are you ready, Scott?
Listo, Scott?
That's Debbie.
No, it's little.
I was one of 7 children. My parents never got much of a formal high school education, and all of us struggled to find opportunities in a community plagued by violence. The University of Colorado changed all of that for me.
Led by backup quarterback Charles Johnson, Colorado has defeated Notre Dame 10-9.
I know your friends call you CJ. Can I call you CJ?
That's fine. I've been around the CU system for over 35 years. I understand CU's strengths and its shortcomings. And one of our biggest shortcomings is who has the access and opportunity to attend CU's 4 campuses and the incredible academic environment they provide. For years, I bused middle school students from poor neighborhoods to CU to plant the idea in their heads that college could be for them too. Adults call that closing the perception gap. The kids just call it having a fun weekend in Boulder watching a football game. But it's not enough. The CU system generates over $17 billion of economic opportunity. We need bold system-wide change if we're going to make CU relevant for Black and brown kids in Northeast Denver, or the sons and daughters of farmers in Eads, or working families in Pueblo, Colorado Springs, Durango, Grand Junction. I'm running because I believe I can unite people together to solve big problems. Here's what I'm focused on. The rising cost of tuition is vastly outpacing the ability of many of our residents to pay. We have a mental health crisis amongst our students that we must address immediately. And we are failing in diversity, equity, and inclusion. I know this oh too well because it's what I do for a living. When I look at the CU system, I see the same conversations happening today that I was having in 1988 when I was president of our Black Student Alliance. And finally, none of the things I've talked about will matter much if we don't get ahead of the climate crisis. I'm Charles Johnson. I'm running for CU Regent because it's time we give the University of Colorado system back to Colorado. Growing up in Detroit.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Garfield County is allowed to send 18 delegates to the State Assembly and Convention on Saturday, April 13th. The State Assembly and Convention will be virtual. A candidate must receive at least 15% support at the County Assembly to get delegates to the State Assembly. Delegates will be allocated in proportion to the candidate's support. Note that this is a non-binding commitment of delegates, and delegates can change their vote at County Assembly. We're now going to conduct an official preference poll, which will be used to determine how many delegates will be elected for each candidate to the State Assembly. Please find the link to the poll in the chat. Click on the link. Fill out the poll completely, voting for either one of the candidates or uncommitted, and click submit. If you have questions about how to vote, please send a message to the chat. We're going to take about 4 minutes to vote. We have about 1 more minute to vote. If you're having any problems, please let the chat know. Okay, folks, we're finished with voting. We need a few minutes to tabulate the results. Be right back with you. Scott, are the polls ready? Your credentials committee says we're good to go.
1 second. And yes.
Okay, we've done our tabulations, and in a second here, you should see the results on your screen. As you'll see, Elliott Hood, 39.8%, uncommitted 17.2%, and Charles Johnson, 43%. On our next slide, you'll see the number of delegates that each gets. So we'll get 7 delegates for Elliott Hood, 8 for Charles Johnson, and 3 for uncommitted. Now, in a poll we sent prior to the meeting, we requested that people indicate whether they wanted to become a state delegate. Based on that interest, here is a list of people who expressed a desire to be a delegate. We have exactly 18, so that's the number that we need. We need, let's see, 3 more delegates for Elliott Hood. If you were an uncommitted delegate and you're willing to go as a delegate for Elliott Hood, please send a message to the chat. Caitlin Carey.
Or Charles.
We got Caitlin Carey.
For who?
For Elliott.
You also need to ask if anyone wants to go.
Just gonna do it in a second. And same for Charles Johnson. If you're an uncommitted delegate and you want to go with Charles Johnson, please send us a message to the chat. We have anybody? Sarah Hayes will go for Charles Johnson. Okay, we need 4 more for Charles Johnson. Carol O'Brien will go for Johnson. Greg Cowan will go for Johnson. Two more for Charles Johnson and 2 more for Elliott Hood. If you're on the uncommitted list and you'll commit to one of those candidates, please let us know in the chat.
Eden Asha John will go with Charles Johnson.
Okay, great. Trinity, Aaron, Keith, Ellen, Robert, or Karen, are you willing to go for Elliott or Charles? We need 1 more for Charles and 2 more for Elliott Hood. Chris Wilson says she voted for Charles.
That's fine. We can change it. Okay. I can add her. Chris Williams?
Wilson.
Oh.
Okay, we need 2 more for Elliott Hood. Robert Shively will go for Elliott Hood. One more, please. You're not committed. Even if you change your vote now, you can change it at the state assembly. Trinity, Aaron, Keith, Ellen, Dole, Karen, Roger Wilson will go for
All right, Chris Wilson will go for Elliott Hood. Oh, that doesn't matter. Or we're correcting that, I guess. Yes. Eden, you're on mute.
Is Heather Joe? Is Heather Keith Joe Montrose?
All right, has everybody made the switch they want to make? Let me know if I missed anybody. Okay, we need one uncommitted to volunteer to step aside. Aaron, Heather, Ellen, or Karen. Heather said she'd step aside. Perfect. Thank you so much, Heather. We are now set with our state assembly delegates. Please note that our state assembly delegates will also serve as delegates to state convention, which follows the assembly. At state convention, delegates will elect our Democratic National Committee delegates, as well as 3 members to represent Colorado on the Democratic National Committee for a 4-year term. I'll now accept a motion to approve the list of delegates to state assembly and convention. Please use the hand raise function. We have one from Jessica Robeson and a second from Pat Tomasco. If you have a point for discussion, please use the hand raise function. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, we will now vote by acclamation to approve the list of delegates. If you are opposed to approving the list of delegates, please note your opposition using the red X. If you're in favor, you don't have to do anything. Seeing no red X's, the motion passes and we have approved our list of delegates. Thank you so much, delegates. Please consider this your first notice of the state assembly and convention on April 13th. You'll receive an official call through the email that you registered with. Now we're up to Colorado Senate District 5. We're allowed to send 16 delegates to the SD5 assembly, which will be virtually on March 30th at 2 p.m. Garfield County received notice from Barbara Bynum and Cole Berger of their intention to pursue access to the ballot through Caucus and Assembly. We're honored to welcome the candidates here to speak with you today. We flipped a coin and Cole Berger is going to speak first. Are you there, Cole?
I am here.
Excellent. Cole, you have 3 minutes.
Well, thank you all for being here. I know it's like we're getting late in the day, so I appreciate you all sticking around and hanging on. My name's Cole Berger. Many familiar faces on this Zoom in my home county. I am currently appearing from my car in Gunnison County because I've been to Delta, Montrose, and Gunnison thus far. I'm running for state senate because it is time for a new generation of leaders. We have so many challenges that are occurring here in the state of Colorado, from climate change to housing costs, the crisis of housing costs and cost of living. And we also have got to transition away from the boom and bust economy of the past. Finally, I think it's a big priority for all of us on this call to make sure that we're protecting our rights, whether it's women's reproductive rights, LGBTQ rights, like Mitchell and I's, and others on this call. And it's going to take somebody who shows up wherever they can and takes the issues of importance to us to the state legislature. I grew up here in Garfield County, well, where you are in Garfield County, on a ranch south of Silt. I know how lucky we are to live here, but I also know how hard it can be to live and thrive as we face these challenges. And so, you know, I've dedicated my entire career to being oriented towards policy and making the world a better place, from educational funding reform to financial literacy to voting rights. And I am just very fired up, prepared to take our voices to the Capitol, solve problems, and to know how to do it. I think we don't send people based upon past titles they've held. We take it on the experience that they have, the diverse personal and professional experience, lived experience, and I'm ready to do that. So thank you all for showing up. I am so happy that you're all participating in the democratic process, and I hope I can earn your vote to get on the ballot.
Thank you so much, Cole. We appreciate you joining us. Next up is Barbara Bynum. Do we have Barbara with us?
I am here with you guys today. How are you?
Excellent, Barbara. You have 3 minutes to address the delegation.
Thank you very much. I have a 2-minute video to share, so I will just quickly say hi in as close to person as we can get. Thank you all for participating. This is such an important process, and I'm so excited about this race and about our opportunities as Democrats to flip Senate District 5 back to being blue. I am currently the mayor in Montrose, and I have a 15+ year experience in serving at the local government level. So with that, I don't want to take up any more time. Can I ask you to start that video for me?
You can.
Hey, Garfield County. Thank you for being a local leader in the county assembly process. This race for state senate will be Colorado's most competitive this year. As Democrats, it's so important that we put forward a candidate with a proven track record and the experience to win. A candidate who's been elected and re-elected 6 times in this district. I'm Barbara Bynum. I can't wait to meet you in person, and I'd be honored to earn your vote today. What does Western Colorado problem solving look like? Well, I'll tell you where it starts. It started with wanting our kids to be healthy, so I became a baseball mom. It started with wanting better schools for our families, so I became a school board member. It started with a dream to build a great rec center for our town, so I became a fundraiser, a door knocker, and a community builder. And that became great new places to play, childcare choices for young parents, a plan to diversify our economy so hardworking people have the opportunities they deserve. And that became 3 terms on the Montrose City Council and 2 as mayor. What started with a passion for our kids and building a great place to live became a love for public service and a renewed faith in Western Colorado problem solving. Solutions to secure our water, lower home and child care costs for hardworking people, and grow good paying jobs. Solutions that bring us together to get real things done. And we need strong leadership at the state senate to deliver results. I'm Montrose Mayor Barbara Bynum, and I'd be honored to serve as your next state senator. Hey, Garfield County. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Barbara. We appreciate you joining us live and your video. We're now going to take an official preference poll between Barbara Bynum, Cole Berger, and Uncommitted to determine the distribution of delegates. This is really important. You have to live in Senate District 5 to be able to vote. Please do not vote if you live in precincts 11, 15, 18, 19, or 24. We're now going to put the link to the poll in the chat. You guys know the drill by now. Click on the link, vote for one candidate or uncommitted, and click submit. If you're having trouble voting, please send a message to the chat. We'll take about 4 minutes to vote. If you don't know your precinct number, it is next to your name on the screen.
So this guy just came and he asked for Morgan's card, but he's been doing, I think it's the same dude, but he does this little scam, right? He buys like a large popcorn, he leaves, he never sees a movie. Then he comes back, has that big tub, and then asks for gourmet popcorn in the big tub and tells you, oh, Morgan said it's okay, because he knows her name. People like will be like, oh, okay, if you it's like it's full like for whoever program has to be five.
We have about 1 minute left to vote. If you're having any troubles voting, please let the chat know. Okay, folks, I think we're finished with voting. Please give us a few minutes to tabulate the results and we'll be right back with you. Scott, Credentials Committee is ready. Are we good with the poll?
One moment, Eden.
Thank you.
Just double checking. You're good.
Okay, we have the results. And here in a second, we should see on our screen the percentage. All right, so Cole Berger got 68.3%, Barbara Bynum 29.3%. Uncommitted did not make threshold at 2.4%. On our next slide, we're going to see the number of delegates that each candidate gets. Cole Berger gets 11 and Barbara Bynum gets 5. Next, we're going to show you the results from our pre-caucus poll of who wanted to be a delegate for whom. So the uncommitted delegates did not meet threshold. So that will be 0. We have 5 for Barbara Bynum, which is just what she needs. If you are here and you still want to be a delegate for Barbara Bynum, could you please raise your hand so we make sure that we still have all the people on the call right now. So we have Sophia Clark. Do we have Michelle Diamond? We have Ted Zislis. We have Michelle Diamond. We have John. We have her. You didn't announce.
Yeah, all 5 of those people are currently present in the Zoom.
Thank you, Scott. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Okay, we have 20 people for Cole Berger. Cole gets 11 delegates. So if you are willing to step aside, particularly if you are in precincts 10 or 14, or looks like 10 or 14 for sure. We need a couple people to step aside. Anyone else who'd be willing to step aside? Jess raised her hand. I guess she'll step aside. Thank you, Jess. We appreciate it. Ellen Dole raised her hand. She'll step aside. Thank you, Ellen. Dawn Dexter. Katrina McAlpine. Carol O'Brien.
I'm sorry, Katrina.
Yeah.
Carol O'Brien.
Yeah. Okay, we're down to 15. We need 4 more people to step aside. 4 more people, please.
Make sure people are here so you can check in.
Anyone in one or two from precinct 10 who might step aside? Willow Brotzman will step aside. Thank you, Willow. We appreciate it. Alex Sanchez will step aside. Thank you, Alex. We appreciate it. 2 more, please, and then we're going to vote to approve this list. Two more people.
We'll flip a coin.
Willa Jones Irwin. Thank you, Willa. We appreciate it. 1 more. One more person. Who's it going to be? Tamara Haynes Norton. Thank you so much, Tamara. We really appreciate it. All right, so we're going to be voting on the folks under Barbara Bynum and Cole Berger. We're going to vote by acclamation to approve this list. Let's see, first, I think I need to take a motion to approve the list. Jessica Robeson and Dawn Dexter has seconded. We'll open the floor real quick for discussion, or not real quick. If anybody has a point of discussion, just go ahead and raise your hand. Is there any discussion? Looks like Sharon has a point for discussion. Scott, can you unmute Sharon? Sharon, you're up.
Thank you. I apologize. I was having difficulty putting comments in the chat. I am unable to be a delegate at this time. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for letting us know.
So she on the list?
She is. So we need one more delegate for Barbara Bynum.
Oh, the uncommitted people.
Anybody that was uncommitted want to go for Barbara Bynum? Margaret Cook? Or I don't remember who the other person was. Aaron Anderson. Raise your hand if you could be a delegate, anybody, for Barbara Bynum. We'd like to have a full delegation here. You're not committed when you go to the assembly. You can change your vote. So if you stepped off for Cole, maybe you'd like to support Barbara. Tamara Haynes Norton is back in the picture. Thank you, Tamara. All right. We need a new motion to approve the new list of delegates. Looks like Sydney Shallett made the motion. Dawn Dexter seconded. We'll now open the floor for discussion. If you have a point for discussion, please raise your hand. Jessica, did you have a point for discussion? We will unmute you if so. Scott, you want to unmute Jessica? Nope, looks like she put her hand down. Okay, let's vote. Seeing no more discussion. All those opposed to approving the delegate list for SD5, please note your objection by using the red X. If you're in favor, you don't have to do anything. Okay, I don't see any red X's, so the motion passes and the delegate list is approved. Thank you to everyone who volunteered to be a delegate. The assembly is virtual on Saturday, March 3rd at 2 p.m. You'll receive your official call via the email you registered with. Next up is Congressional District 3. We get to send 18 delegates to the CD3 Assembly Convention. We received notice from Adam Fresh.
I cannot unmute it.
I don't know what was going on there. Maybe that was Adam. Of Adam Fresh of his intention to pursue access to the ballot through Assembly. We're very honored to welcome Adam Frisch here with us today. Mr. Frisch, the floor is yours for 3 minutes.
Hey guys, super happy to be here. Sorry, as you can tell, I'm on the road trip as always. Been home for about 4 or 5 days a month for 2 years. Not joking. We just finished the 27 county 1,500 mile tour to make sure we got around everything. We fully appreciate we're running unopposed, but we wanted to drive around and in person thank everyone, or through Zoom, let everybody know. Super excited that we had, or I had Felix with me for the last week or so. He was on spring break from a senior of high school, so we were able to get around. I want to honor everyone who's been working morning, noon, and night all day today, as well as in the past, to make sure that we put some more blue dots on those maps out there, especially in rural Colorado. And also want to thank those candidates. We had a couple candidates come and go for CD3, and want to honor them, especially Mayor Stout out in Grand Junction, for her contributions to the conversation we had. Unlike last cycle, everyone is returning our phone calls, including the DCCC. We are one of 15 people on a red to blue list, which comes with a pat in the back, but it does allow us to make phone calls to a lot of different people around the country to get the support we're going to need to be able to do this. And so I am really honored to have the support of the DCCC. And a lot of the people on the road, as you know, we're the closest in the country. We're also taking a bit of a victory lap for chasing the current congressperson out. As I remind everyone, putting aside some national conversations about this district being 6 or 7 points the wrong way, our great governor won this district by 2 points. Michael Bennett lost it only by 1 point. And we have this very, very important Amendment 89 on the ballot, which I hope everyone has signed it, to support reproductive health care freedom, something that's near and dear to my heart from 50 years of my father being an OBGYN, and including the last couple of years working for a Planned Parenthood. There aren't that many people running for Congress whose homes and father's offices had bomb threats and death threats for the work that he's been doing. And super proud that my youngest of 3 sisters was an OB-GYN back in Minneapolis. And just here to say thank you as well. We feel confident going into this race. It's going to take a lot of work, but we'll be on the road. It's not going to be known for a couple months. We're going to be running alongside on the Republican side. There's 8 or 9 people there, but I'm here to say thank you. I look forward to getting together with Garfield County in person again. And hats off to Debbie and the team. And thanks for a long day here. I appreciate all the work.
Thank you so
over.
much. Thank you so much, Adam. We appreciate you being here with us live. And as the sole candidate for CD3, we're going to award our entire delegation to you for your
Honored.
assembly. All right.
I was shooting for over 60%, so I feel good.
We had 9 people volunteer to be delegates to the CD3 assembly, which is held virtually on Thursday, April 11th at 6 p.m. Delegates to the CD3 assembly will also serve as delegates to the CD3 convention immediately following the assembly. We have space for 9 more people. We would love to have a full delegation. It makes Garfield County look good if we send a full delegation. So if you are interested in joining the crew of CD3 delegates, please raise your hand and we will add you to the list. Will Hodges.
Thanks, everyone.
Karen Hammock. Carol O'Brien. Donna Yost. Asha John. Robert Shively. If you've been counted, put your hand down so we can see who's next. Let's see. We've got Nick Eisenberg. You've got Dorothy Tomesco and Judy Haynes. Tomezsko.
Thanks, everybody.
Judy Haynes. All right, great. We have a full delegation. Thank you to everyone who's stepped up. We're now going to accept a motion to approve our list of delegates. We'll wait to get the hands down from the other from joining the vote so we can restart. Please put your hand down from the last vote or the last hand raise. Okay, great. Now we'll take a motion to approve the list of delegates. Don Dexter has made a motion. Now we'll take a second. Patricia Tomosco has seconded. We will now open the floor for discussion. If you have a point for discussion, please use the hand raise function. Looks like Will Hodges may have a point for discussion. Scott, can you unmute Will?
You're good, Will.
Hi, y'all. Mr. Frisch, I am not going to vote for you at any assembly unless you call for a ceasefire in Gaza.
Thank you, Mr. Hodges. It looks like we have Anita Sherman who'd like to make a point. Scott, can you unmute Anita?
Yes, just unmute yourself now.
Okay, Anita, unmute yourself and you can speak, hopefully. Anita, did you have a point for discussion? You are able to unmute yourself if you do. Okay, I'm going to assume that she is good. Any further discussion?
I'm just happy to sit down on a Zoom or something with people between now and the 11th of April. I appreciate the diversity of opinions and appreciate the pushback and feedback. So thank you, Will, and others.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, we'll now vote to approve the list of delegates by acclamation. If you are opposed to approving the list of delegates, please note your objection using the red X. If you're in favor, you don't need to do anything. Okay, I don't see any red X's, so the motion passes and the delegates are approved. Thank you to everyone who has stepped up to be a delegate. You'll receive your official call via the email that you registered with. Moving on to Colorado House District 57. Garfield County is allowed to send 18 delegates to the HD 57 Assembly to be held virtually on Saturday, March 30th at 12 p.m. We've received notice from Representative Elizabeth Velasco of her intention to pursue access to the ballot through the Assembly process. We are honored to welcome Elizabeth Velasco here to speak with us today. Representative Velasco, the floor is yours for 3 minutes.
Thank you so much, everyone. I want to thank our chair, Debbie Brew, and also everyone who has worked so hard on putting this together. This is the opportunity where us Democrats can come together to choose the candidates that are going to represent us and the candidates that have our values and are going to be on the ballot. So it has been an honor to represent Garfield County at the state level, at the Capitol. I ran on the promise to start addressing, environmental justice. Last year, we passed bills to start addressing water quality in mobile home parks. I served during the interim as the chair of the Wildfire Matters Committee, where we continue to support our first responders and work on being proactive to make sure that our community can keep the lights on when there's an emergency, that we have healthy forests, that our kids have access to clean air and clean water. I also served on an interim ozone committee because we know that air quality is a statewide issue. I continue to serve in the Appropriations Committee, which is the committee where a lot of the funding gets allocated to the things that we care about. So I continue to be a strong voice for the Western Slope to make sure that we have access to resources. This year, I have been working together with all levels of government to respond to the migrant arrivals. We know that this is a humanitarian issue and that there's opportunities for all of us to thrive and for our newcomers to be an important part of our economy. Our community is 30% Latino, so language access has been also a priority. So, we are here fighting for our freedoms, elevating all the things that we care about. We are the party, the big tent party, and we must continue to show up to protect all the things that we care about. So I want to thank everyone for allowing me to represent you and to ask for your support again for me to be able to be on the ballot and continue to serve for 2 more years. So, I know that we are stronger together and thank you for hanging in there.
Thank you so much, Representative Velasco. It's an honor to have you here with us. And as our only candidate, we're going to award our entire delegation of delegates to you. We have 16 people who volunteered to be delegates to the HD 57 Assembly on Saturday, March 30th at 12 p.m. We can take 2 more. If you're interested in being a delegate, please raise your hand. We'll take the first 2 we get. We've got Jasmine Ramirez and Trinity Stebleton. Thank you so much for stepping up. All right. I will now take a motion to approve the list of HD 57 delegates. Stephen Arauza has made a motion. Jessica Robeson has seconded the motion. We'll now open the floor to discussion. If you have a point for discussion, please raise your hand using the hand raise function. Jessica, you have your hand up. I'm not sure if you have a point for discussion or if that's left over from making a motion. We can unmute Jessica if she has a point for discussion. Scott?
Yeah. I don't think she's not unmuting herself at this point.
Okay. All right. Any more discussion? All right, we're going to vote to approve the list of delegates by acclamation. If you're opposed to approving the list of delegates, please note your opposition by using the red X. If you're in favor, you don't need to do anything. Seeing no red X's, the motion passes. Thank you so much, delegates, for stepping up. You will receive your official call to the virtual assembly via email. That's all our voting. We have 2 more videos to show you today of terrific candidates we won't vote on today, but that will need your support in the election. First is Ellen Angeles running for CD3 representative to the State Board of Education.
De la Junta Estatal de Educación.
My name is Ellen Angeles, and I am honored to announce my intent to run for the Colorado State School Board, representing the 3rd Congressional District. My family is a family of educators, with a father who served as a principal and a mother who dedicated her life to teaching. I was raised with an unwavering appreciation for the transformative power of education. After spending about a decade in the corporate world, I found myself drawn back to the family business of education. 20 years ago, a summer job at Colorado Mountain College in Leadville ignited a passion for teaching within me. Witnessing firsthand the benefits of education and the profound impact it has on shaping lifelong learners, I knew that teaching was my true calling. As a parent myself, I understand the hopes and dreams we all share for our children. We want nothing but the best for their future. That's why, if elected, I will be a strong advocate for robust education policies, increased funding, and vital resources for our schools. By fostering partnerships with local businesses and actively listening to the concerns of parents and communities, I believe we can bring a balanced perspective to the school board. Together, we can build a brighter future for our children and our community. I am committed to ensuring that every child has access to a high-quality education, regardless of their background or circumstances. I humbly ask for your support and your vote. Let's work together to create a stronger, more equitable education system for all.
Thank you, Ellen. Next up
My
is
name is Ellen Angela.
Robert Logan, who is running for CD3 representative to the Colorado Board of Regents.
My name is Robert Logan, and I'm running for CU Regent, Colorado District 3. I want to leave with you 1 what and 2 whys today. What is the CU Regent? Why should you care? And why should you vote for me? What is the CU Regent? CU Regents were established in the state constitution in August of 1876. It was the purpose of the legislature to establish a university that would represent the entire state. They wanted regents to oversee that, to be the governing body, to be able to look at and understand the activities and the programs of CU.
From day one to the present, Regents have overseen those elements. Why should you care? CU has over 67,000 students in the 4 campuses. They have a managing budget of $5.5 billion. They are the 3rd largest employer in the state. Those numbers are pretty telling. CU Regents have oversight over those things. But numbers don't tell the whole story. We also know about the communities of CD3. From Craig to Toyoak to Center to Trinidad to Pueblo and back again to Durango Grand Junction. CD3 is a large area. I want each one of those communities to have an opportunity to go to CU, to come back to their communities, to contribute, and to understand the love of the land that we have. My why. I have been a public school teacher for the last 27 years and recently retired. It was my greatest goal to see each student be encouraged, supported, and challenged in their work, to see a possibility for their life that they hadn't seen before. CU can give that same possibility. That's my why. Why I want to be the regent and why I think I would be a good one. Please vote for me in the Assembly on April 11th, in the primary on June 25th, and in the general election on November 5th. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert
My
Logan.
name is Robert Logan.
We are just about finished. We have a couple of final notes. First, we want to ask if anyone is interested in serving on the Perm Org or Credentials committees for either State Assembly, HD 57 Assembly, SD 5 Assembly, or CD3 Assembly. You've seen a little bit about what that's about today with our Credentials Committee working on our votes and the Perm Org Committee setting the rules for the meetings. If you're interested in that, please send a note to the chat with your name and the particular position you are interested in. Before we adjourn, we have a quick message from the chair of the Democratic National Committee, Jamie Harrison.
Hello, Colorado Democrats. It's DNC Chair Jamie Harrison. I want to personally thank you for participating in the caucus and for all of your efforts to protect the democratic process. You know, my dear friend, the late Congressman John Lewis, said that democracy is not a state, it's an act. And Colorado is a shining example of the importance of actions to protect our democracy. You all know better than anyone that we must keep the fight going into November and beyond. We've seen how hard MAGA extremists work to divide our nation, to take away our rights and our freedoms, and to turn back the clock on all the progress that we've made as a nation. But we are not going to let them. People across the country are depending on Colorado to continue sending Democrats to Denver and to Washington, D.C. Because when we elect Democrats, all Americans benefit, not just a select few. We need your leadership in the fight. But of course, my friends, that means we have a whole lot of work ahead of us. Our fundamental freedoms and our democracy are at stake this November, and it's up to each one of us to get the job done and to re-elect President Joe Biden and to send a huge Democratic crew to our state capitals, but also to Washington, D.C., so that they can help the president, so that they can help our vice president finish the job. Thank you again for your enthusiasm. Thank you for all of your hard work. Let's continue to grow. Let's continue to fight, and let's elect Democrats up and down the ballot. See you soon, Colorado.
Thank you, Jamie Harrison. This completes the business of our assembly. We appreciate so much your being here with us and your patience. I know it was a little bumpy at times, but we got done what we needed to do, and we're really grateful to you for being here. I will now entertain a motion to adjourn the assembly. Caitlin Carey has moved to adjourn. Do we have a second? Pat Tomasco has seconded. We don't need a vote on that. Our meeting is now adjourned at 3:58 p.m. Thank you again, everybody. Goodbye.